Okay, this is hands-on exercise number 3 from chapter 2. In this hands-on exercise, we're going to be doing 3 functions, and they're rather difficult. So we're only going to do 3 in this exercise. The 3 are the VLOOKUP function, the payment or PMT function, and the if function. And I would say the VLOOKUP and the if are used extensively, so if you have an understanding of these, you'll go far with Excel. So we're back in the Townsend Mortgage Company. We're in the second of 2 worksheets. We've done all of the things that we needed to in details. Now we're in payment information. And the first thing we're looking at is the annual percentage rate. Now, the annual percentage rates are actually contained in a table right here in D3 through E6. So if the number of years of a mortgage is 25, well, the annual percentage rate is 3.625. If the number of years of the mortgage is 30, the annual percentage rate is 3.75. And if it's 15, its annual percentage rate is 3.25. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a VLOOKUP function that will compare the value in column F to the value in this table up here, and then produce the corresponding annual percentage rate. So this is what VLOOKUP is. And again, with only 5 values, I could simply match 25 to 25 and type in 3.625. But imagine we have a column that has, or a spreadsheet that has 1 million of these mortgages. Using VLOOKUP will save us tons of time. So let's go ahead and put our cursor in G9. We'll go ahead and click on the insert function, and we know we're looking for VLOOKUP. Now, if we wanted to, VLOOKUP is contained in the category of lookup and reference. So I'll just click on that just to show you real quick. There is something called HLOOKUP, which is a horizontal lookup. Okay. There is simply a lookup function, and then there is a vertical lookup or VLOOKUP. We're going to learn VLOOKUP, but all the lookups work basically the same. It's just really more of where our data is contained in the particular table. We're going to go ahead and click on VLOOKUP. Now it says lookup, the 3 things that we need to make the VLOOKUP work is the lookup value, the table array, and I'll explain this in a second, and the column index number. So the lookup value in this case is going to be the number of years, 25. That's contained in F9. Where is your table of values? Well, the values are contained in D4 through E6. Now, because we're going to use this same table no matter what row we're in, we're going to actually have to use an absolute cell reference for just the table part of our VLOOKUP. So in this box where it says table array, I'm also going to hit F4 to make that an absolute reference, because we want the table values to remain constant each time. And the column index number, well, we have a 2-column table, and what it says is column 1 is in the leftmost table, that's where years are, and column 2 is in the rightmost table, rightmost column. If we had values in F, this would be column 3. In G it would be column 4, and H it would be column 5. So we're simply going to type the number 2 because we want our output to be the annual percentage rate. If we wanted the output to be the number of years, I would simply type column 1 because that is the leftmost column of our 2-column table. So I'm going to type 2 and I'm going to hit OK. And it says 3.625. So let's verify. 25 years matched with 25 years here, and the annual percentage rate of 3.625. Let's use autofill, to see if we've done it correctly. Every time it says 30 years, it should say 3.75, and it does. Every time it says 15 years, it should say 3.25, and it does. So that's the VLOOKUP function. The payment function, or PMT, is a financial function. I'm just going to type PMT into the search engine and hit go, and then hit OK. Now, the PMT asks us for 3 arguments as well. What is the interest rate? What are the number of periods of that loan? And what's the present value of that loan? The PMT function is used, or the payment function is used to calculate a per period payment, in this case a monthly payment, where we want to calculate both the amount of principal and the amount of interest we pay on that loan. So for anything, if we're buying a house or buying a car, there is an interest rate associated with that. Some of the money we're going to pay is based on the principal, and some of the money is going to be based on interest. So the payment function calculates the monthly payment that we're going to make and includes both principal and interest. So here's our rate. Our rate is going to be the annual percentage rate, but because we're making these payments each month, we need to divide by 12. And in this case, we're going to use cell references just to get in the habit of doing that. And the number 12 is listed here in B5. But we want to make this absolute because no matter which row of monthly payments we're going to use, we want to divide by that same value, B5. So I'll hit F4 again. So this rate is G9, the annual percentage rate, divided by 12. The number of periods is, well, the number of years times 12. And again, we have to make years absolute. And then finally, what's the present value of the loan? Well, it's the amount of the loan that we've financed. We've already put down $86,000 in this first mortgage out of $425,000. And so the amount financed is the amount left over. And so we financed basically about $340,000 of this loan. That's in D9. But as the rows move down, we wanted to pick up D10, D11, D12, and D13, so we leave that as a relative cell reference. Let's click OK and see what we get. In this particular case, we get a value that's red. You've heard of the statement or the phrase, we're in the red. That means we have a negative cash balance, for example. This red indicates that that is a monthly outflow. So each month we're going to pay $1,723.73. To put it back into terms where we want it, we're just going to put a negative sign right in front of PMT. So it's going to say equals negative PMT, and that will change it to a positive value. We still know that this is a monthly outflow of cash. So each month of the 300 or so payments that we're going to make, we pay $1,723. Let's use the autofill and show you that. All right, so let's just, for fun, show you one thing. We are financing a loan of $339,000, and we're doing it over 25 years, and we're making 25 times 12 payments a year. So let's quickly just show you what I'm talking about. So we're making 300 payments over the life of the loan. Each time we make a payment, we pay $1,723. So what I'm going to do is just show you quickly an example of how much this house is actually going to cost us. We're going to multiply that by 300, which is the number of periods in the loan, just to show you. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So that is the number of periods. I'm going to multiply it by the monthly payment. That's what I wanted to say. So look at what our, over the life of the loan, it's a 25-year loan. We're making 300 monthly payments. We're going to end up paying $517,000 for this house. $339,000 would be principal, and then the remaining number would be interest. So just a quick lesson in personal finance and home buying. We bought a house that cost $425,000. We put $86,000 down, which left us with an amount that we had to finance. Well, that $339,000, when you add interest to that, turned out to be $517,000 over the course of the loan, and we ended up paying about $178,000 just in interest. So if you can buy a house, the more you can put down in cash at the beginning of the loan, the better. And if you can buy a house outright, that would be even best. So now we've done a VLOOKUP, we've done a PMT function. Now we're going to do an if function. Okay, Now, we have this thing, monthly PMI. Another personal finance kind of lesson is that if you don't put 20% of the house value down, you have to pay an extra value, which is insurance that you are going to pay in the future. Okay? So if we look at these loans, we've put more than 20% down here. We've put more than 20% down on the second loan. On the third and fourth loan, we've put less than 20% down. So we're going to get an extra charge, and that's called PMI. Until we've paid off 20% of that house, we're going to get charged this extra fee. So, but only 2 of these house loans are going to be charged PMI. So we're going to write some statement that says if 20% or more has been put down, PMI equals 0. If less than 20% of the house amount financed has been put down, or down payment has been put down, we're going to pay that extra fee. So let's complete this if function. I'll go to insert function, type if, hit go, and we'll select if, and let's see what we need. We need a logical test, a value if true, and a value if false. So our logical test, we can write it anywhere we want, but let's say we want to say if the amount of our down payment, or E9, okay, is greater than or equal to this 20%, which is in B7, and we want to hold that as absolute, well, the amount of PMI we pay is 0. Okay? But if E9 is not greater than or equal to B7, then we have to pay a PMI value. The PMI value is going to be based off of the amount financed, or D9, and it's going to be multiplied by a PMI rate. This is an annual PMI rate in B6 of 0.38. We need a monthly PMI rate. Okay, so it's D9 times, I'm going to put it in parentheses, B6, which is absolute, so I'll hit F4. Oops. I don't know why I did that. B6 times, oops, I got to make that absolute, times B5, which is 12 periods per year. Oops. Actually, it's going to be B6 divided by B5. And that's absolute as well. All right, let me read the formula one more time. The formula, if false, is going to be D9, or the amount financed, times the monthly PMI rate, which is B6 divided by B5. Both of those need to be absolute. I'm going to hit OK, and it shows that we have a dashed line, or a 0 monthly PMI. When I pull this down and using autofill, notice that our if statement worked. None of the values, we have a monthly PMI of 0 if there is 20% or more down, and if we don't have 20% or more down, we pay a monthly PMI rate. Okay, so in this hands-on exercise we learned about the VLOOKUP, the PMT, and the if.